Vilazodone is a drug that acts as an agonist of serotonin receptors. It is used to treat major depressive disorder. In this video, I'll share my visual mnemonic to help you remember all the important information about Vilazodone so you'll be ready for test day. It's a beautiful fall day for a harvest festival in this local village, since festivals like this always happen in quaint local villages, right? Speaking of, this village here should remind us of the drug Vilazodone. Get it? Because village sounds like Vilazodone. Vilazodone is a drug used to treat major depressive disorder. We'll talk more about this later, but for now, just remember this village for Vilazodone. A festival means lots of food, right? Well, check out these freshly baked cookies on the banquet table. There's even yellow frosting in the shape of a smiley face. Speaking of, these happy face cookies should remind us of serotonin. Get it? A happy face for serotonin? Since serotonin is considered the feel-good neurotransmitter, right? Vilazodone acts to increase signaling at serotonin receptors. It does this in two ways. One, by directly acting as a partial activator, or agonist, at the serotonin receptor, which you can remember by the half-eaten or partially eaten happy face cookie in the boy's hand. Second, it also inhibits the reuptake of serotonin at the neural synapse. Reuptake inhibition works to increase the levels of serotonin in the synapse, which can then go on to bind to serotonin receptors, which you can remember by this big mound of happy face cookies piling up next to the cookie thief, just like how serotonin piles up at the synapse when reuptake is inhibited. These specific mechanisms aren't very high yield on test day, but knowing that Vilazodone increases serotonin signaling is. So, in summary, just remember these happy face cookies to remember that Vilazodone works to increase serotonin signaling. It looks like this boy got greedy and isn't sharing any of his cookies with his sister. She really wants a cookie too. Poor girl. Now she's crying. Let this crying girl remind us of major depressive disorder, which Vilazodone treats, since that girl is really unhappy right now, right? Major depressive disorder is a condition characterized by a depressed mood and several other symptoms such as loss of appetite, anhedonia, or poor concentration. It is due to low levels of the feel-good neurotransmitters such as dopamine and serotonin. As you may recall from earlier, Vilazodone acts as an agonist of serotonin receptors, as well as by inhibiting serotonin reuptake, thereby increasing the activity of serotonin in the brain, helping to treat major depressive disorder. In summary, try to remember this crying girl for major depressive disorder, which Vilazodone is used to treat. It looks like this baker accidentally put too many cookies on the table, and some of them are now falling to the floor. Well, let this excessive number of happy face cookies remind us of serotonin syndrome. This is a major side effect of Vilazodone use. If you recall from earlier, Vilazodone is a partial agonist of serotonin receptors. And we know that any drug that modulates serotonin can lead to serotonin syndrome, characterized by fever, tachycardia, hyperreflexia, altered mental status, and diaphoresis. Due to this risk, patients taking other serotonin modulating drugs like SSRIs, tricyclic antidepressants, or MAOIs should especially avoid Vilazodone. Try to remember this overflow of happy face cookies for serotonin syndrome, a major adverse effect of serotonin modulating drugs such as Vilazodone. Finally, before we close, there are just a few other adverse effects of Vilazodone that we should mention. It looks like this boy ate too many cookies and is now looking pretty queasy. Probably should have shared some with his sister. Anyway, this queasy appearing boy should help us remember GI upset, which Vilazodone can cause. Vilazodone can cause nonspecific GI symptoms such as nausea, vomiting, and diarrhea. Headaches are another low-yield side effect of Vilazodone use. These side effects will almost never help you pick Vilazodone from other drugs on test day, but we've just included them briefly here for completeness, okay? Well, all this talk about cookies has got me hungry now. Let's wrap up and hit some food stands. Vilazodone is a drug used to treat major depressive disorder. It acts to increase signaling at serotonin receptors in the brain. An important side effect to remember is serotonin syndrome, which is more common if Vilazodone is given with other serotonin modulating drugs. Finally, Vilazodone can also cause nonspecific GI symptoms such as nausea, vomiting, and diarrhea. And with that, we are done with Vilazodone. Time for me to grab a cookie. I'll catch you in the next one.